I
because
will.
I
Yeah.
I have no problem with being a historian. I
Yeah.
just hate
That's what I'm
the
saying.
fact that I'm a historian um of pain.
Well, one way or another, I'm wanting to create something with you that just helps new people get up to speed in 90 minutes
I'd
because,
love that. I'd love to do that because people do need to get up to speed because the truth
yeah.
is a lot of this stuff happened before the internet,
Yep.
and the stuff that's happened since the internet has taken over,
Yeah.
they're scrubbing it.
Yep.
They're
I agree.
removing.
I
You
just
want
think,
to know what's wild? I just talked to MIA, right? Yesterday. And I had asked her about something and she clarified it for me because it was a couple of weeks ago, right before she did Candace Owens.
yeah.
Um,
Just
where there
before I
was
need
a
to, just
video of
before I
her
need to go, Jack.
cursing out Beyonce and cursing out Adele. And
Yeah.
remember, did you see that?
I actually I need to just quickly run
Go, go,
to
go,
help
go,
out.
go.
But before I go, the reason I'm saying this is your words have way more weight behind them when people understand fully who
Oh, yeah.
we're talking about, who's involved, and all of that. I've got a totally different perspective of I'll be sure now.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I've looked into the man's eye. The man also, as well, it takes a rare man can pull off one of those hats, right? That he was wearing in that. He nailed it. Like completely nailed it. And I know I'll be sure is the iceberg in this. We've got the visible 10% and the 90% he's had to play the way that he's playing it, and I respect it. And I just think that
Like
your
I said,
words are so
if
powerful.
I told everybody everything, it could put people's lives
Oh
in
yeah. Oh no,
jeopardy.
I'm stupid enough. I'm not crazy enough to be saying that. But I think it would be really good to be able to go, oh, you're new to Jag. Here's the cliff notes. Here's the 90 minutes. Go get
Let's
caught up.
break it out because I want
Let's do it.
everybody to get up to speed. I don't want them to miss the history that's about to be made.
I agree. Okay, I'm going to go and see to Nova. Tommy, if you can try and keep Jag on the documentary for the next 30 minutes, and then we should
I
be
can't
good.
make any promises, Holmes.
All
No, I'm
right. Well,
kidding. Yeah, no, of course. No, we're going to talk about it. I
all
promise.
right. Good. I'll nip back in, but I just need to go and do my thing. So anyway, thank you very much,
No,
sir.
take care of it. Have a good time. Yeah. So listen, this is while I was watching this documentary. I'm now going to have to go back
Do
and
you
watch it
mind if
again.
I cam down for just a second,
No, I
Tommy?
don't mind if you calm down at all. You're
Okay.
good. Just don't leave me.
I'm
One of
not.
the
I'm
things
here.
one of the things that while I was watching this documentary, and I probably would like to go back and watch it again, knowing exactly when it was made was kind of fascinating to me because it
Yeah.
does change the entire perspective on this. But the gentleman that and you probably discussed this before I came on, but the one of his best friends from life, right, from growing up, lived in the same house with him.
Yeah,
Actually,
Tim.
had moved into Tim. That's right, had gone off into the military, but this gentleman has left the music industry and has moved into the middle of nowhere. And he described it as, well, I'm somewhere out in the woods. I guess you'd call it off the grid. He did
Yeah.
not want to even give people a part of the country. And I found this fascinating. The whole hidden room in his toilet in the bathroom. He's got a wall that slides out of the way so you can go and look at the trophies of his life, like his gold albums and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It was fascinating to me that it looks like this man literally ran from the world. What does that say about this industry and about the people that he was associating with and doing business with?
It says that he really underestimated who was watching because I know those treetops. I know exactly where he is.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
hope you hear me, Tim. I know exactly where you are. If I can figure it out. But it speaks to it got real. He tried to get away. What I don't understand is I want to know what happened to his son. Because it was like he walked away. And then his son died. It's funny. That's what happened to me.
No.
I walked away and my grown son died.
I had one other question for you, Jag, because I thought for me it was fascinating. This is the Peacock Network, right? This is the same people as NBC. The difference in how they treated Voldemort, right? Jay's accuser versus how they treated the Diddy accuser was like
Night and day.
night and day, right?
Same network. Tell me something. Why didn't they handle the autistic woman with the same care that they handled this woman?
Well, because I think he's still being protected, right?
I mean, as much as he can be.
Right.
I mean, there's this woman out there named Jaguar, right?
Good. How's Ziggy?
Yeah, he's just coming down off an infection. So he's going to be fine. And thanks everybody for your concern. But yeah, he's all been checked out. He's good. We've got the onions chopped up. We're good to go.
Excellent.
It works. It works.
Yes.
Is this the bottom of the feet onions? Yeah, no, this does work. I learned that from the brothers in prison. They do that all the time, man. They'll buy them out of the kitchen for that. That works. That's no joke.
And it draws it right out.
Yeah.
And gives the immune system a chance to recalibrate naturally.
Yeah, we don't need Big Pharma. F Big Pharma.
I'm with you 100%.
But anyway, I've missed what you guys have been talking about. I apologize for repeating myself. But watching the documentary then, so I'll be sure what he said, does that give some credibility to Courtney saying about the diary?
Well, this is the thing. What I said when I sat with you guys, when me and Courtney went head to head, technically would give validity to Courtney, technically, except for the fact that he can't be honest about how he got it. See, I made it very clear that I knew it was real, that it had been disseminated and parceled out in pieces. And I knew he wasn't one of the people that got anything. I know that. I'll be sure, said very plain and clear. The diary was real. The memoir was real, but it was incomplete. I have also said on several occasions last year that if I were them, I would have got my hands on some of that book, whipped a whole bunch of horse shit around it, and let it create all the reasonable doubt out there in the world that I needed to. And it looks like that's exactly what happened. Whatever him and Chris Todd did, it was fabricated greatly. They took real information. Now the question is who they get it from. Because I know what I received and I know when I passed it on. I know who I gave it to. And that person don't know no Courtney Burgess and they never heard of no Courtney Burgess. And I will not say who it was on either end, coming or going. What I will say is whoever they got it from, somebody need to check their financials because I guarantee you're going to find a new house, a new car, something. They found that. When Diddy found out that Kim was writing that, he went into cleanup mode. People are also forgetting that Baby Love's mom was spying on Kim for Diddy. She didn't find out until late in the game.
And what about all the pneumonia stuff?
That house was also broken into a year after Kim passed away. Who breaks into an empty house? In that kind of neighborhood, they went looking for something. I guess they were looking for the rest of the pieces they couldn't get their hands on.
There was a lot of insinuating about the medical method of unaliving regarding pneumonia. What were your thoughts on that?
Limonia.
Pneumonia.
I call it limonia.
Pneumonia.
Pneumonia is something that happens naturally. And with proper health care, you can survive it. But see, that limonia, it just creep up out of nowhere. Every time somebody about to tell the truth, that's going to expose a lie. Next thing you know, here come the limonia. Low bar limonia. Allegedly, just like Brittany Murphy had. Low bar limonia. You know, it's
And her husband.
yeah. Ashton?
No, the one that she was married to about a month and a half after she passed, he did.
Oh yeah. He was out of here too. Kind of just like how Bobby Christina passed away and then Nick Gordon passed away right after her.
I didn't realize how close Albie Shaw was to death, as portrayed in the documentary.
On several occasions. I wasn't joking or exaggerating when I said we prayed him back from the grave. That zipper that they cut in him. The last time they opened it up, they said the whole medical team jumped back. They said it looked like a bomb had went off inside of him.
Oh.
I don't talk about that often because that was a very, very, very personal. And he made it through, and we don't acknowledge what he's been through. We acknowledge what we got to keep on the other side of it. But as someone who has also been poisoned,
So what did you make of that part in the documentary where they had him pausing about what he could and couldn't say?
I mean, I remember when me and Albert first talked about his documentary. Kim was alive and Giovanni was alive. And then him and Kim did the video shoot with Quincy. And I was so happy for them. I guess Diddy just couldn't bear it. Seeing the family that he worked so hard to destroy reuniting. Imagine somebody with so much jealousy and envy that they can't do what they want to do to you, that they're willing to take everything you love and hold it like a hostage. It's disgusting. What's more disgusting is that all of this stuff has happened in plain sight and people just look right by. I guess that's what my purpose is. To make sure people just don't walk by.
So do you think a lot more is going to come out from
Oh,
Albie
yes.
Shaw?
Oh, yes. I'm going to put it to you this way. Of the totality of his story, y'all heard 3%.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I thought he was pretty clear too. You could see that he was he started a sentence and just went, "Yeah, I can't talk about that. We're in litigation on this." So obviously he's taking his shot, and so I think he's just protecting what he's got going. But I'm looking forward to the day when all of it comes out. That's the beautiful thing about court.
It's coming. It's coming, but we have to get all of the Diddler's allies off the streets too. Like, I don't think people understand what the word enterprise means. You know? The Combs enterprise. He's being held on RICO. which means there is a criminal organization working together in tandem and in concert, which means if you have a hydra, just because you cut off one segment doesn't mean the other four aren't able to operate still. As long as Jay-Z's on the street, there is no justice for Al, be sure. I know people don't want to accept it. I know they don't want to draw the line. But until we can get the whole Loch Ness monster, all limbs locked in tight, everyone who is sitting on the truth has to sit on it just a little bit longer, because the truth is, what's the point in going to authorities that are just going to tell you there's nothing that they can do because that person is protected?
So is one of the co-conspirators in the criminal enterprise the guy called Shane that Ariel said was a scouter?
I mean, I'm sorry. I just have a hard time acknowledging or registering anything that divisive broad has to say is true. I don't. I thought it was also very interesting and telling that they reached out to get the police report that Ashley put in that was refused to be given, even though it should be public record by now. And if Ariel Mitchell Kidd is such a great attorney, why does she keep failing all of her clients, or just, picking up ones that are nothing but lying sacks of shit?
McKenna's asking. McKenna's asking who is Shane. So in the documentary that we're talking about, The Making of a Bad Boy, Ariel has this case of someone who was allegedly R-worded with a remote control, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Shane was allegedly the scouter for Diddy in this allegation. So that's the Shane that we're referring to.
That story has changed as well, because it was initially said that the beginning of that story, and this is the thing that I find interesting, they keep talking about the story, but they keep segmenting things out that were initially said that they're now stopping ever since the RICO charges have been put firmly in place since the arrest. Allegedly, Ashley was on the phone and she was talking to Diddy. Someone, I guess it's the Shane person, put her on the phone with Diddy, and I guess Diddy was asking her if she wanted to party and hang out, and she said, no, because I know what you did to Tupac. And then that's when she was coerced to come to the next location where Diddy was with Christina Coram, who also administered unlawful medical procedure on this woman at the same time, while, during the midst of the whole graping with the remote control. Like, that wasn't just some freak off. That woman was brought there to be punished because she called him out for doing what allegedly we all believe he did to Tupac Shakur. That wasn't just some wild moment of SA passion. That was done to her to make sure she never talked about the Tupac thing again. And how do you have that client and that lawyer in that documentary and that part be completely excluded? Sounds like all these people need to get fired. They just need to hire me.
There did seem to be a lot left out.
A lot left out.
And a lot left in. Tells Courtney made a good appearance, which is odd.
Listen to me. I hope you enjoyed it, you big head monkey. After the way he spoke about my son, I don't know if y'all know, since he came here and did the foolishness he did the last time, him and Adria decided they was going to go live and try to convince the whole world that I had my son sacrificed.
Oh,
Disrespectful
Did you know that?
shit. Yeah, I saw that.
no.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry, Ariel kid. I don't believe you. You got She Diddy as a victim. You got Courtney Bum as a victim. You were representing Jamal, Todd, whatever. You seem to be involved with a lot of frauds. And meanwhile, there's a very real victim on your roster. And the most important part of her story, you didn't make sure they put that. If they couldn't get the police report, you couldn't make sure that that story made it. You don't sound like much of an attorney to me. I'm glad you fleed me. Who would want you representing them? That was your big moment. You've been sitting around, running around, doing all these interviews. Then you disappear right before this comes out. And the most important part of your client's story, you don't include. But you did make sure to get that big face buffoon up there who disrespected my friend with all of the very unreal details that were put in that very real cry for help. And that's what I was saying when me and Courtney first went at it the first time. None of this sex stuff got anything to do with this woman's actual real story. Because tales of the abuse were in that diary. And more than what they put in there. Truth is, would nobody be even talking about Cassie if Kim had lived? Because it would have been Kim and her diary and her evidence that she had been collecting for years that would have had Diddy probably convicted already by now. See, the Cassie allegation is easier to beat. You couldn't beat Kim. You couldn't beat Kim at all. Which is why you've gone out of your way to terrorize everybody and anybody that knew that it existed or had any interaction with it, including me. It's sad.
So, Jack, if you were to rank the people in the documentary in order of credibility, where would you put Gene Deal?
Let me give you my lineup. I'll be sure. Ashley. Gene Deal. And then you can do what you want to do with the rest of them.
That's a great answer.
Jess is wondering, talk about the guy who remained anonymous in the documentary. It sounded like Courtney. Who was that guy?
That was not Courtney and it wasn't Little Rod. But if it is who I think it is, out of respect for him and his family, I won't even think about trying to remember his name. Because he had footage from inside the studio. And they just showed that clip. I'm sure there's a lot more.
So Sonia's wondering your thoughts on how Diddy might feel about Cassie now having a beautiful family. Do you think she will finally be left in peace?
Well, I mean, I think it would be wise for people to go back and watch his acceptance speech on BET for his Lifetime Achievement Award. When Young Miami was there as his paramour, holding a banner that says, "Go Daddy."
He thanks her.
And he didn't thank her. He thanked Cassie
For holding it down.
for holding him down through the dark times after she had moved on and married and started a family. Is everyone forgetting how people were saying how Diddy was still approaching Cassie as if they were still in a relationship after she had left him while she was with Mr. Fine, her husband. You heard about that, right? Like he was still pretending, he was still including her in posts while she was a married woman. And people kept, even 50 Cent said something to say about it. Man, when's the time to let go? He said, I don't know when I feel like letting go. He said he bragged about still going after Cassie while she was newly married and it just had a baby. They're like, but they married, they have a baby. He's like, well, you know, it's my girl. That's how he was still referring to her. And if we pay attention to what the documents in the lawsuit said, after she left him, he came and he assaulted her one more time. So I want you to think about all of that. And now let's rewind 30 years and think about the story my friend Albert just told you about what Diddy did to him and his wife. And even though he went through all of that trouble to claim Kim away from Albie Shore, he still turned around and got their other friend Sarah pregnant while him and Kim were together, which is why the twins and Chance are so close in age. He was sleeping with all of the friends, and he was friends with all of their boyfriends and husbands. I don't know. That to me is a clear line of that's behavior. That's calculated behavior that's been going on for 30 years. This man does not know how to take no for an answer. This man must have what else. You know, did you ever see The Count of Monte Cristo?
I read it.
Thinking about this story now, it makes me think about that. Whether you read it or whether you saw the film, any one of them, there was one line when Count Mondego, because it was Edmond Dantes and Count Mondego. And Count Mondego was the wealthy son of, you know, nobility. And Edmond Dantes was a hardworking guy who was working his way up in the world the honest way. He was in love with a beautiful woman. And every time Edmond turned his back, Fernand is sitting there all up in Mercedes' face. You're gonna be mine one day. You don't want to be the wife of a ship hand. I'm noble, and you should leave him for me. And whoopty whoopty woo. And she looked at him and she said, "Do you remember when we were children? And you got a pony for Christmas, and Edmond got that whistle, and Edmond was so happy with his whistle that it pissed you off, and you didn't even appreciate the horse you had just gotten." And she looked at him in the story and says, "Fanon, I am not going to be your new whistle." And what did he do? He turned around, set his friend up, let him go to jail for the rest of his life for a crime he didn't commit that he set up. And what did he end up having for all of that time? He had Mercedes and he had the child that he posed as his family, his son, his wife, and he made it seem like he did the noble thing because his friend was unalive. And so he came in and then they had a baby. Turns out it was Edmond baby all along. Now, whether he knew it was Edmond's baby or not, who knows? But what mattered to him was being able to take the one thing that made another human being so happy. And guess what? He wasn't happy for long either. He was running around cheating on Mercedes with every woman and whore in Paris and all of that. He went through all of that to get it. And then lost interest. She had said it to him. All I'm going to be to you is a new whistle. And that's how I feel about Diddy. This is a terribly unhappy person that when he sees happiness on another human being, he wants to take it and claim it for himself because he thinks if he gets it, it's going to make him feel better. And then he gets it and then he just doesn't care anymore. And then he goes off looking for a new whistle. All of these relationships with these women that he's had publicly have overlapped. Publicly. Meanwhile, we can't stop hearing about all these male victims that happened in the midst of all of these overlapping female relations. Do y'all see where I'm going? I'm going to fall back. I'm going to let y'all talk.
Tell me, what have you got?
To me, this is it's never been about the male, the female, anything. This is a guy that gets his rocks off making people do things they don't want to do, right? So if you could get somebody that's heterosexual and force them to do something that's goes against that, that's about as far as you can push a human being to get him to do something that is outside your comfort zone, right? Sleep with the sex you're not accustomed to sleeping with. That's about as bad as you can do. And we keep hearing in all of these lawsuits where he'll say to a bodyguard, "You get in there, you do it next." And everybody assumes that the bodyguard's like, "Yeah, let's do this." My gut is he's probably making these people do things that they're going to regret for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? You heard in the documentary, right? You get that coat, right? You get that gear. It's blood in, it's blood out. And, you know, we even hear him joking about that in videos, you know, and then he giggles afterwards, but it doesn't seem like he was kidding much, right? They really have gone out of their way to kind of build this thing into it's a Diddy cult, that whole damn enterprise. And you're right, it's an enterprise, right? We got a letter coming out on February 1st called the Enterprise Letter, and it's gonna spill out all of this crap and tell us who was there and who wasn't. I know people keep saying they're worried that Jay's gonna walk. Man, you said that about Diddy, right? You did. All you sent me emails for a long time.
Diddy.
Yeah, damn right.
Everybody told me I was crazy. And where is Diddy?
DC, Brooklyn.
Now, see, understand this. I'm not a Diddy victim, but I have survived